the author of Misfit, Growing Up Awkward in the 80s. Gary Gulman is here on the Rich Eisen Show. Good to see you, Gary. How are you?
An honor, Rich. So great to meet you and see you and sit by this gorgeous desk.
This is the Rich Eisen Show desk.
Yeah.
So, I've been told by many people that we're going to get along just great.
Yes.
We know people in common. And then I just did what I always do for guests who have not been on the show yet. I Wikipedia them.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I have a strong Wikipedia page for somebody as virtually unknown as me.
No, don't say that. Don't say that. You're an author, you're a comedian of note. You've got tour dates coming up.
Sure.
Which we'll get to. And this is how I know we're going to get along. Interestingly enough, it says subject matters that are, I guess, part of your comedy.
Yeah.
Everyday life, pop culture, childhood, and Judaism.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what more do I talk about?
Come on.
That's like that's the grand slam. You touch them all right there. So I think we're going to get along just great.
And the book covers Hebrew school and Jewish summer camp, not exclusively, but amongst other things. I always felt that Jewish summer camp was this great opportunity for young Jewish boys to have the Gentiles culled from the pack so that they stood out in athletics as well as physical appearance. So it was the T-ball of dating and Jewish social life.
One of my greatest achievements was to get out of Hebrew school. Funny. So I could stay, and we're the same age, I believe. I'm 54, you're 53?
53,
okay, so we might have, because you're from the Boston area, right, from Massachusetts?
Yes.
We might have had different experiences. I got out of Hebrew school. My parents allowed me to get out of Hebrew school, a rare occurrence, to watch the Yankees and Red Sox play the game that was the Bucky Dent home run game.
Oh my gosh, the 70, wow.
In 1978, there I was, 9 years old.
Wow.
Getting out of Hebrew school.
Were you rooting for the Yankees or the Red Sox?
I mean, I'm from New York City, sir.
Yeah, okay.
So we're on opposite
I was
sides
rooting
of the
for
fence.
the Red Sox, and it's sort of my, where were you in JFK? I remember exactly where I was when Bucky Dent hit that home run. I was at my Uncle Norman's, and who was, Uncle Norman was able to get us very good electronics because of his job. He was a burglar, and which people what non-Jews,
I had no idea that burglars got great. I mean, I guess it makes sense.
What non-Jews don't know about Jewish people is that we run the gamut of professions. We're not just journalists and accountants. There's also burglars, and there was a Cy Young Award winner. The most recent one I think was Steve Stone, but before that there was Sandy Koufax, of course, which you can't talk to a Jew about baseball for 6 seconds without him bringing up Koufax taking off Yom Kippur.
My mom and the guys here love talking about this. TJ, for some reason in particular, the sweetest guy on the set, along with Del Tufo, is that my mom went to the same high school as Sandy Koufax.
In Brooklyn.
And once upon a time had an opportunity to maybe go and out on he would be a gentleman caller potentially.
A woman in my Hebrew school carpool, I am not making this up, the late Gail Greenberg.
May she rest in peace.
Dated Sandy Koufax. But here's the thing. I think that anyone who was in his high school or went to his high school claims to have dated Sandy Koufax. Because this can't be that big of a coincidence that the two women who intersected with Sanford Braun Koufax dated him.
So he's like the Jewish Judd Nelson of that odd breakfast club.
Or the Jewish
the most strange breakfast club in the history of high schools. See, I told you we'd get along. I knew this. Gary Gulman here on the Rich Eisen Show. I have been told you have a fantastic, one-of-a-kind college football story. Is this a true story, Gary Gulman? How did you get into college football?
I played 1 year of high school football and could dunk and catch I was just bigger and faster than everybody in the greater Boston area of football, but I was soft. Like I was soft, and I was a reader. And but Jack Bicknell, who I mean, he was a legend.
Yes.
Because he had coached Doug Flutie in the Heisman Trophy year. This was a few years after that. He saw something in me. and he was completely wrong. There was nothing to me except that I could excel when people were around 5'11" and I was 6'6" and 255. And then I got to BC, and the tight end ahead of me was Mark Chmura. And
my God.
Yeah.
Okay. He's
from the Packers. He was
yeah.
really good, and he was the only one who could run faster and jump higher. So I tested well. I was like a combine superstar. But then when we got on the field, I would just get the daylights knocked out of me all afternoon long, and then my reps decreased. And before I know it, they sent me to a therapist, and because I was having my first of many breakdowns, and so Boston College was very generous and guided me through 4 years of college
football. But how many reps did you get in high school at college football?
Oh, I played in 10 games. I was a starter, offense and defense, and it's
in
just
high school.
There aren't any decisions you have to make other than your route in high school.
Yes.
And when I got to college, it was like, well, if you see a rolled up corner, and I just if they're in cover 2, and I fogged over, and I could never read defenses, and so I would turn around and the ball would be in my back because the quarterback was Glenn Foley, who just had a cannon.
Wow! So Glenn Foley was your quarterback, and you were on this. We were below the depth chart from Mark Chmura.
Oh yeah,
in Boston
yeah.
College. Just years after Flutie had that big moment.
Yeah, but quickly they moved me to offensive line, where I was with Tom Nalen was the center. I mean, yeah, it's a who's who, and then a who's Jew. It was a Catholic university, and it's just there were no mezuzahs on any of the they knew it was me because I put up, it was like ram's blood.
That was the Passover.
Yeah.
You would pass. Glenn Foley would pass over you.
Exactly. But there were no seders to be found. Plenty of communion, but no matzah.
I think we need to move Judaism up on this list of Wikipedia subject matters.
Well, I know my audience. I pander.
Yes. No, well, you're a comedian of note for sure. When you do that. Misfit by Gary Gulman, growing up awkward in the 80s. What was awkward? I remember what was awkward for me in the 80s, but what was awkward for you?
I mean, the thing is that my dad thought I would have, and he was right, but it crushed me. He thought I would have an advantage athletically if he made me repeat the first grade. Mm-hmm. But I was, and this is sad that I have to point this out, I was in the top reading group. I was a good student.
Okay.
But my father wanted to get this. It was sort of like the Malcolm Gladwell outliers. So I didn't have a January birthday for hockey, but I could repeat the first grade, and it did make me excel at sports. But socially, I was too mature for the people who were a year younger than me, because it's a big gap at that age. Yeah. And so I didn't fit in with them. And then when I went to Hebrew school, most of the Hebrew school kids you find out that there are different levels. There's a spectrum of Judaism. These kids knew all the holidays, and I was hearing about Purim, and all I had celebrated was Hanukkah and Passover. And then they're coming in, and they're rabbi level Jews in comparison to my house, and it was just I didn't fit in with those kids. Also, they were pretty well off. Their fathers were all shoe salesmen, and my parents were divorced, so we were just broke all the time. It was a. This
sounds like Menachem Bueller's Day Off.
It was a lonely time.
This is what a high school story.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and that's all in this book.
That's part of the book, and also we have my first date.
Okay.
And also the Hebrew school and the Jewish summer camp I went to, that was, because we were broke, it was paid for by the local Jewish Federation, which is very generous.
Where'd you go?
It was called Camp Simcha. And
no, it was not.
I swear to you, it was called Camp Simcha, and they would pick us up on a bus. And I went there, and I was bullied by Jews, which to be bullied amongst the bully, it was very uncomfortable, because they were busing in kids from a marginally more tougher town called Lynn, Massachusetts, which was known as it was the city of sin. and so these kids were already getting to second base with girls and everything like that, and they just had no use for a sheltered, pampered. It was a nightmare.
On a free ride to Camp Simcha.
Yes, I was on a full boat to Simcha.
Gary Gulman here on the Rich Eisen Show. The first thing Chris Brockman noticed when you sat down are what did you notice, Christopher?
Oh, Gary's wearing the new Jason Tatum sneakers. Let's go.
Okay.
Yes.
Tatum ones.
So you are a diehard Celtics fan.
I'm a diehard Celtics fan since 79-80 when Bird's rookie year. Yeah, I was 8 or 9, I think, and we just fell in love with him. It was, the perfect time to follow basketball.
8 or 9 when Larry Bird shows up to Boston. To be a Celtic fan at 8 or 9.
Yeah.
When I was 8 and 9, I was what was I doing? I was watching Rory Sparrow play for the Knicks. Michael Ray Richardson showed up at some point in time.
Sly Williams,
both Williams played.
Yeah.
Buck Williams had a little bit of some time with the Knicks then, and then Ewing showed up.
Yeah. I watched Ewing in high school because he went to Cambridge Latin. So I went to a basketball camp that his coach ran, and it was the most exciting time of my life. And the great thing about sports is that you intersect with people who are from different cultures. So it was the first time I really knew African American people close, and I learned a great deal about the importance of lotion, and I shared with him the ideas of Saturdays off.
Lotion's crucial.
Lotion is crucial. He would say if we don't use lotion. My roommate was Ray Marshall. We roomed together for 3 summers, and he said at the basketball camp, he said if we don't use lotion, then we get what is called ashy, and we will be ridiculed from the moment school starts until the end of the day. And I said, oh, that's like wearing jeans that are too short in a white school. You could never get over being for having floods. So it's a very different thing, but according to Ray, the worst thing was to be either nappy or ashy, he would say. Yeah.
TJ, would you like to chime in on this front at all?
Ray told no lies.
And my wife is a black woman, and she confirmed all these things later on.
So you received confirmation throughout your entire life.
And now TJ has also confirmed it. So I
got lotion on my desk over there.
There you go.
In front of Roku, I can't believe it.
Things that the Israelites never had to worry about was ocean. We were. I don't know if this was a case with you growing up in the 80s, but the idea of sunscreen. We never wore sunscreen, and any mom who had sunscreen was considered a helicopter parent.
Then I had a helicopter parent,
okay.
Sir. I had a helicopter parent.
That's fantastic.
It's funny. The other day, Gary Gulman, again, his book Misfit, we're all books.
Thanks for resetting, Rich.
I'm a professional resetter, sir. Is that the other day on the night before the NFL kickoff, the mother of Travis Kelce was on NBC being interviewed by Kaylee Hartung of the Today Show and Prime Video. But at any rate, she was being interviewed because Travis had gotten hurt.
Right. No, I remember.
And so she was asked about her son's readiness to play. And I thought to myself, what if my mother was in that position? What if my mother was being asked if I was physically ready to play football? And she would have been like, "Are you? His knee. He shouldn't play. You know.
Yeah.
He should sit. He should get well. You know.
Are you resting enough,
exactly.
honey? Are you getting rest? These 2-a-day practices, twice a day. When do you rest?
Yes, you get it.
100%. Oh
so
my
I was
gosh.
sitting there and thinking, do I say something on NBC?
Oh.
Just like if my mother had
yes.
or something along like Donna Kelce is not Hamish. You know, like this. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I let it slide. I just decided.
But you can't go wrong in bringing it back to our mothers. It's always funny.
There she is, right there.
Oh my God.
That's the beautiful Donna Kelce next to her brother or her sons.
Right.
You know, they're the brothers,
That's right.
the Kelce
she has
brothers.
Yes. She
And
has
so
two
she was
sons
so sweet, and
in
she's
the
just like,
NFL.
well, the trainers are going to look at it, and my mother would be like, the doctor should absolutely be listened to. Don't listen to anybody but the doctor.
Yeah, the Jewish equivalent of having two sons in the NFL, I think, is having two sons in the Big Four accounting firms.
Deloitte and Touche?
Yes, to have Price Waterhouse
or your kids are Price and Waterhouse. Now that's the Super Bowl.
Wow.
I feel like this, much like Casablanca, is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, Rich Eisen.
That's what I was told.
Yes.
Gary.
Oh, so fun.
So how do you think? You must be excited. The
I'm
Celtics
really excited.
paid Jaylen Brown, right? And,
oh my gosh.
And Tatum's going to be next. You know he's going nowhere.
I mean, I haven't felt this way since Garnett and Ray Allen joined the team, but I've loved this team since the year when Irving went down and Terry Rozier III came in and dominated. I mean, this team has been through a lot. I'll miss Marcus Smart, but
It's good one.
It's a shame. He had the greatest name in Boston.
Oh my
sports
God!
accent
Not since
history.
Noma Gashiapara.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Noma kid.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart was the
What would be
greatest
the
guy.
top five? I mean, you got Marcus Smart.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because he was also Kyle Yastrzemski guy.
Yeah.
And then Noma Gashiapara. And although we loved Mosi Tutupu, but it didn't really
didn't flow.
Yeah, it didn't flow with the Boston accent.
Tom Brady. I mean,
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady kid.
Tom Brady kid.
I'm not a member of the LGBTQ plus community, but Tom Brady, that's a good-looking guy right there.
No doubt. So your tour dates.
GaryGulman.com.
Yes, Newark, New Jersey at the Victoria Theater, Boston, Mass, the Wilbur.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. What a beautiful
Yeah, I can't.
The Wilbur.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Wilbur,
And those are all sold out. But I'll be returning. And the book I did an audio version, and there's also the hardcover, and that's. I got the hardcover. I did the Audible version. Yeah, dude.
Misfit, Growing Up Awkward in the 80s, available now wherever you get your books. Gary, come on back. Let's do this again.
Yes. I was hoping you would invite me back.
Before we go, let's hit the Wayback Machine. I think we have a photograph. Gary Gulman, there it is.
Oh, wow.
Is that a Topps card? Is that a mullet? You didn't tell me you had a mullet.
I was rocking the mullet to the point in 1989 where the hockey kids were impressed. They would say, "What flow?" BC Hockey at that time, we had what was called the Hemline, which was Steve Hines, David, Emma, and Marty McGuinness.
Oh,
and they made
man.
it to what was then the Final Four. Now it's the Frozen Four.
That's
and
right,
it was the greatest hockey season, college hockey season I've ever witnessed. It was
You had a Topps card,
extraordinary.
man. That's pretty cool.
I think somebody photoshopped that. I
Is
don't
that
think that's
right?
a,
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think that's a real. At best, I
Did
would
we
have
do
been
that?
Don Russ or
I don't know,
Flair.
but that's awesome. Don Russ or Flair.
Yeah.
89 Don Russ, that's Griffey Jr., right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Why
then
not?
the upper deck Griffey, which
One of the greatest baseball cards ever.
was used for currency in Seattle. You could pay for coffee with a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card.
At Gary Gulman on Twitter and Instagram. Everybody go get Misfit where books are available. Thanks for coming on.
This is the
brother.
greatest interview I've ever given.
It's been a blast. It's been a blast. I knew it as soon as I saw the Wikipedia page. And what your likes are, just like, I mean, it's
a great
it's a
intersection,
Kenohara, as they say, right?
Man, we would have been really close friends in high school, Rich
We would've-
Eisen.
I know that.
Wow.
I know that.
Now you're close friends now.
We
Yes.
are. Better late than never.
You know?
It's like learning when you're 54, getting confirmed that ashy is bad. Gary Gulman here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.